Funny to me that the most courageous thing that any of us can do is to be ourselves. There has to come a point where we decide to put our money where our mouth is and actually be ourselves. Funny to me that the most courageous thing that any of us can do is to be ourselves. Turn on the camera, be in front of the camera, and just be authentic. I have been putting this video off for, I will say, months of ideation in my head about how to get this message out, how to talk to you, how to make YouTube videos, to the point where I'm just tired of myself. But I realize that it's a game that I not only play, but I know that you play as well. So the best thing that I could do is to turn on my camera and actually talk us through why it's important for us to be courageous. And I can actually already start crying because the fact of the work that it took me to actually turn on this camera and record a video that I know needs to be recorded, even if I don't know exactly all the pieces, and how something like that could stop me, and how it's just stopping all of us from saying those things that need to be said, doing those things that need to be done, and just questioning what is that in between point of what you want to do, what you want to become, versus what your life is actually showing improving. So I'm going to pause right there and read this poem that I'm sure a lot of us have heard. But I'm going to read the poem Our Greatest Fear by Mary Ann Williamson. It goes, "It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." Just reading that poem, it instantly brings you into yourself and questioning, have you done this very thing? And without a shadow of a doubt, I know that I do it. I know that we all do it. So when I first heard this poem, I felt like it was something that I've said to myself. It's something that I actually felt. It was like an awakening when I first heard that poem. You know how you hear something for the first time, but it sounds so familiar. It sounds like it's coming out of your own thoughts, but it's also bringing you out of your own thoughts to the conclusion of your thoughts, to know that I'm not the only person that fears literally just being myself. I want to be a vessel to the thoughts that I have and no longer let the fear and the doubt and the insecurities win over what needs to be said. Right now that there's so many things that are going on in the world that we can feel so out of control. But if I could do my part of saying, you know, I'm human, I'm here, I want to go on this journey with you. I want to build this community around people who are courageously choosing joy and no longer being at home feeling helpless or being ashamed of being human. Right now in the social media landscape, as far as creating content, a lot of people aren't out there creating content because they feel like there's no space for learning anymore. Everyone has to come to the platform arrived and have this great thesis. And while I understand the place and the point of that, it is hindering those who have the real empathy and the heart for others to actually step out in the forefront because they're trying to be perfect. They have all these doubts built up. They have all these fears about a human condition that they're always going to experience. I'm always going to be human. I'm always going to make mistakes. I'm going to stumble over my words. I'm going to have thoughts that aren't fully formed, that don't come out correctly. But at what point should that stop me? Anyone who has done anything courageous is just as human as you are, maybe even more, you know? So I want to intercede on your behalf and step out in the forefront as the person who is going to lead a new pack of people who are not afraid to be joyous, who are not afraid to love, who are not afraid to be happy. My life right now is a 360 from anything that I've ever experienced in my life prior to now. Before now, I used to sit with a pit of anxiety and nervousness in my stomach for as long as I can remember. As long as I have been conscious of my body, I've felt this anxiety, always feeling like I have to perform correctly, to the point that it just gives you anxiety to be in society. I gotta smile correctly. I gotta say thank you at the right timing. I gotta make sure that I'm not offending those who are around me by just my presence. And I know when you're hearing all this, you're gonna think, oh, that sounds crazy. But if you really examine, you will know that you've experienced moments like that. And even if you haven't experienced moments like that, know that there are people around you who sit in silence, and this is what they're experiencing in their everyday life. There are people who are content with being at home, but there's people who are at home because of the fear of just being around other people, the fear of being judged, the fear of not living up to expectations that people have on society that really has nothing to do with the person who has fear. I've been afraid to create a YouTube channel and be consistent because of all this pressure that I put on myself about other YouTube channels that I watch, other content that I watch. But what I realize is that I have no control over what happens after you watch this video. I have no control over what happens after I create this video, after I post the video. And that is what has freed me to continue to create content. I've been wanting to write a book for years. I sat down last night and read through a journal that I've had for many years, and I'm just looking at it. And in 2007, I said that I wanted to write a book, but I felt like what I had to say didn't matter. And then I texted a girlfriend last night and said, this is the same conversation that I've been having with you for the past few days. I want to write a book, but I feel like it doesn't matter to anyone. I feel like I'm not good enough. So I really had to sit with myself last night. Like, you've been having this same problem since 2007. You've been letting this same roadblock in your mind exist since 2007. It's 2023. My mind was blown, and I'm like slowing down in my pace of talking to really sit with the fact that I've let my mind and my fear live since 2007. But do you know how many people let that same type of fear stop them till they're no longer here in this earth realm? So last night I decided that I can't let that fear live for that much longer. I have to complete this book. I've had on my heart to write a book since 2007. I let that many years stop me based on just fear and insecurities and not feeling like I have something to say. Even if that were true, I haven't even went through the process for that many years to see if I can actually produce a book. So I'm just sitting here letting a story play over in my mind, and I've let so much time go by that I have fed this story to the point that I may never sit down and actually write a book. So the same pressure that I feel about something almost as simple as making a YouTube video is the same pressure that I feel about writing a book. It's the same pressure that you feel about starting your restaurant, starting your cookbook. Anything that feels really big, it's a fear attached to it. And the fear is that you're not great. The fear is that you're not enough. And it's like no one told you that. I also realized that that fear is attached to so many things. It's the fear of being happy, the fear of sitting at home and resting and not feeling like you have to be producing at this machine level pace to keep up with social media, to keep up with society. There's so much fear wrapped up in us and how we communicate with each other, that on social media all you hear is like a lot of bickering. And if you really dig a little bit deeper into those comments about social media, you will see that people are literally just screaming to be seen, to be heard. That is what is behind everything. So if someone's saying I like pancakes and the next person is saying they like waffles, they want to be validated in the fact that they like waffles, that they matter, that their words matter. And while everyone does matter, social media is not necessarily the place to just go back and forth. Social media is not going to give you the validation that you actually need to continue to do something big or to love yourself. That validation has to start with yourself. And there is no greater love, there's no greater project, if you want to call it, than figuring out how to be content and love yourself. Every relationship that you have in your life is going to stem from the relationship that you have with yourself. And yes, you can be a people pleaser and put people in front of you, but at some point you're going to hit a wall with that. You're not going to feel good enough, and it is going to affect how you begin to people please. It's just not going to ring the same way if you don't have that same love and appreciation for yourself. You matter. You are a divine being just like everyone else that you're trying to please. So you have to put yourself in your own schedule. You have to decide what is the dream for you. And I'm not one of those people. I am a big dreamer, but I don't think that the dream has to be something that's unattainable, and when I say that it doesn't have to be a dream that's unattainable, what I mean is sometimes we'll put goalposts in front of ourselves to continue to feel inadequate. Well, I want to be a movie star, and you're going to say that that's your dream because it's unattainable, and it's something that you're never going to actually put any work towards. So then you use that as a benchmarker to feel like you're not good enough, because I never went after my dream. Instead of really sitting down and being honest with yourself about what your dream is. And I've had to do this recently, and I realized my dream is to write a book. But the reason my dream is to write a book is because of the relationship that I've had with books. They've always been like a friend to me. I can read words and I can see the images of those words. And I want to be able to provide that for someone else. I want something that lives beyond me. If my kids were to pick up a book that can show them me and can also show them how I view the world and a guide for them to continue their life, that's what I want to write, and that's what I want to leave. So when I really sat down recently and decided what is my dream is not to have a bunch of followers on social media. My dream is not to have the biggest house in the world. And I will say at one point I thought those things were my dream. I thought my dream was to have, a real estate company and make all this money. But when I really sat down and I got real with my soul and who I am, I realized that those aren't my dreams. They have been things to kind of like pacify me, but they were never going to satisfy me, because ultimately that's not what I want. What I want is to be able to leave a legacy of love, a legacy of people being courageous, a legacy of other people helping others to feel seen. That's all of us want, is to be seen. And that's what social media has become, is a place for people to be seen, but unseen in unhealthy ways. And so I want to just dial it back and figure out what are healthy ways for us to be in community with each other, for us to begin to see each other and to believe in our own selves. I mean, just man, just think about a room full of people who believe in themselves, who are kind, who are courteous, who can see the other person sitting beside them because they have no ulterior motive in that room. They're just in that room, comfortable in their skin, content. And that's where that's where I am right now. And that's not something that's not a place that I was at before now. And so moving forward in this channel, we'll be digging in how I was able to dig myself out of just existing. And yes, we hear that phrase of not just existing but thriving, and I understand what it means. And it doesn't have anything to do with the amount of money in my bank account. It doesn't have anything to do with the world being perfect around me to thrive. There is a bigger picture to life, and I want to uncover it. And that's what I want my social media to be a representation of. No longer is it going to be about what I look like, what I have on. I understand the place of those things, and I like a nice outfit just like the next person. But ultimately, I care about your soul that's going to live on beyond this life. And so I want you to take care of that. I want to partner with you on taking care of that, because I'm taking care of my soul, and I know what it feels like to take care of my soul, and it's the best thing that I've ever done. So I will be writing the book. I already put the title in here, and it's called Courageously Chasing Joy. Do I have all the pieces to the book together? No, I don't. But this is my commitment to get over myself and create as a testimony to the fact that you can chase joy in so many ways. So if only one person reads the book, my friend Lo that I've been talking to, if she's the only person that reads the book, then I accomplished it. If I'm able to just leave the book as copies for my kids, like when I'm talking to you guys, like how amazing is that for them to have a manual on how to live? And if I can write for them, then I can't worry about who else you know, gets their hands on the books, or if anyone else does get their hands on the book, because this is my life. This is my life's work, and I know that wholeheartedly. To partner with me on Courageously Chasing Joy, then stick around on this YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment and let me know that you want to courageously chase joy in the comments, because this is going to be a movement. I don't know who's going to join, but I already pray over your life. I pray over your family. I pray for love. I pray for health. I pray for peace. I pray for joy over your life. So if you want to partner with me on that, make sure you stick around. Make sure you let yourself be known in these comments, because I'm tired of there being a world of people who need to be seen, who aren't being seen, and who do not feel like they matter, because you do. And together we can make sure that our neighbors, our community, that they feel like they have a voice and that they matter. So I am going to go for now so I can stop being emotional and stop crying on YouTube. Lord, so many prayers and many blessings to you. And I will see you very, very soon.